Yes, good evening, Beverly. I think this is a reflects the complexity of the situation. I think on the one hand, Harry is sending a very strong signal that he recognizes the constitutional significance of the ceremony. We have to remember that he is, after all, still fifth in line to the throne. And I think for him not to attend the coronation could be seen by some to suggest a lack of interest or support for the British monarchy. And he's clearly showing that he is, in fact, in support of the British monarchy and indeed supporting his father, the new King Charles III. But the fact that Meghan will stay behind with their children in California, of course, does suggest that there are limitations to Harry and Meghan's support, and indeed perhaps their sense that they are supported by the royal family. I think another factor here that we might want to think about is the role of the tabloid press. Harry has been in the UK recently. He's been very critical of the tabloid press in the United Kingdom, and it may well be that the couple feel that they would not be adequately protected from press intrusion were Meghan to accompany Harry to the coronation.
Yeah, it did seem a strange excuse in a way that it was Archie's birthday. You know, she obviously spends a lot of time with him as he's so young. Would it not have been an opportunity for the extended family to celebrate with Archie?
Of course. I mean, that's a very reasonable question. I think the other point to make, of course, is that we should see this as a form of negotiation, and that what Harry is doing here by saying that I will come, but Meghan and the children will stay at home, is to give the royal family, and if you like, the press, some of what they wish, because, of course, the ideal scenario would be for them all to accompany Harry to the coronation, but not everything. And to suggest, as Harry mentioned in a recent interview, that from his perspective, the ball is in the royals' court and he's waiting for them to make the next move.
It does also indicate, does it not, that there is still a lot of division here to be healed?
Indeed. And of course, there's a lot of speculation in the press about the role of Catherine, Princess of Wales, and of others who may or may not wish for Meghan to accompany Harry. I don't know that there's any truth to that, but I do think that there's clearly a lot of work that needs to happen within the royal family for tensions to ease and for the relationship to be fully repaired. And we need to remember, of course, that it's not that long ago that Harry's memoir was published and the Netflix series aired. And that, of course, would have created a great deal of hurt, not just among members of the royal family, but particularly in the British public. And we know from polls that Harry and Meghan's reputation in Britain is at an all-time low at the moment. And that may also have factored into their decision for Meghan not to accompany Harry.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the coronation itself. The UK is experiencing a severe economic downturn. Is King Charles's reported plans for a more subdued celebration the right call at this point?
I think it is, but I think we have to remember that while it is slimmed down, while there'll be, for example, only a quarter of the guests in the Abbey than were attending for Queen Elizabeth's coronation, he's also emphasizing this as a people's coronation. And by that I mean that it's not just a single ceremony on the 6th of May in Westminster Abbey, but rather an entire weekend. And indeed, people in Britain will have an extra holiday. The Monday, the 8th of May, will be a bank holiday for people in the United Kingdom. And Charles is very much hoping that ordinary people throughout Britain, the Commonwealth and the realms will come together to show their support, not just for the coronation or for the king, but also for each other. There's a lot of emphasis on volunteers and on encouraging a sense of community spirit. So the idea is that not by spending money, but by bringing people together, this coronation will, if you like, meet the needs not just of the king, but of the wider community.
And is that taking the temperature of the community? It's hard to gauge at this point just how well accepted he has been as the new monarch.
Yes, look, I think that the coronation we will see a bounce in his approval ratings, but I think clearly there is a very different air to the air around his mother's coronation. In 1953, his mother came to the throne as a young, glamorous wife and mother, and it seemed to hearken a new, brighter era for people following the very difficult years of the Second World War. In 2023, I think few people would be as optimistic about our future. And of course, global issues like climate change are of concern to many. So I think many people will watch this coronation. I think this sense of optimism that we saw with Elizabeth's coronation will be absent. And so it will be hard to see whether interest in the coronation will equate to support for Charles.
Yes. Interesting to look ahead to. Good to have you on. Thank you so much, Cindy.
It's a pleasure, Beverly.